All right, let's get going with our areas 9 to 16 of level 3, the Sargauth level. So, if your players maybe left off last time at area 8C after exploring the temple complex, then they might be able to row upriver to area 9. They might hear from the boy, Devon, I think his name is, which is with who is with the hags down here. We'll get to them soon. They're in area 10. Okay, so we got up here to area 9. The guys might, yes, they might hear about it. Get here to area 9, and then in the module we read the following: Captain's Grave. Skullport was once a haven for pirates, one of whom came here to hide her treasure, only to die from a poisoned cask of ale shortly thereafter. Area 9A, River's Edge. This cave at the river's edge contains a weathered backpack left by an adventurer who met a grisly end in Area 9B. A crowbar and a 50-foot coil of hempen rope are strapped to the outside of the backpack. Inside the pack are 5 torches, too damp to light, a hammer, a tinderbox, a skillet, a half empty water skin, and 7 days' worth of spoiled rations. Area 9B, up here. Two Barlgoras crawled out of the Underdark and made a home here. Alerted by approaching light or the echoes of footfalls, they turn invisible and wait to ambush newcomers. Slumped against the west wall is the moldy skeleton of a human pirate clutching a rusty short sword in one hand and a wooden tankard in the other. A shattered wooden cask lies nearby. Careful examination of the wall above the skeleton reveals a slot carved into the stone. The slot has the same width and depth as the pirate's rusty blade. If this short sword or one like it is inserted into the slot, a loose rock in the ceiling falls away, and with it comes a moldy old chest. The chest splinters when it hits the floor, spilling out its contents: 500 silver pieces, a shark skin pouch containing 5 moss agates, 10 gold pieces each, a pair of bone dice, 1 GP, a 6-inch tall empty obsidian bottle carved in the shape of a wizard's tower with a removable cork roof, 50 GP, a pearl necklace, 250 GP, and a shriveled sea elf's head with a potion of water breathing stuffed in its mouth, with the vial's cork sticking out. Okay, then down here we saw is area 10. If the players end up here, they're going to encounter the sea hags and their troglodyte and Grimlock minions, and also their young boy that's a captive. He's 13 years old and he's captive along with a goblin. They're both captives, but the boy doesn't know. Anyway, we'll get there soon. Let's read about Area 10 from the module. All the caves in this area are cold and damp with water dripping from the ceiling to form shallow pools of water everywhere. Now, let's read from the companion. The coven isn't in the business of subtlety and it toys with their guests by emerging from their pools. Hello,
Hey, where are you?
I'm at home.
Are you? How long will it take you to get here?
Um, Shucks, right now is not good because my wife's in the gym.
Okay. All right. I'll go to yours then.
Oh, wow, you're a champ. Thanks, man. Do you any idea when?
I'll let you know when I'm leaving.
Okay, please do then. Then I can quickly pop out and go draw some. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks. Thanks, Eric, man.
Yeah, later.
See you later. Cut. 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 Okay. Continuing from the companion. Cut. 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 The dank cave reeks of brine and seaweed, while geysers erupt in the distance. Geysers erupt in the distance. Cut, cut, cut. The dank cave reeks of brine and seaweed, while geysers erupt in the distance. The walls are slick with algae and decorated with seashells. Shallow pools pit the uneven floor like cancerous sores, and as you tiptoe through the cavern, you can't help but wonder what lies beneath those darkened waters. Gazing long at a pool, you blink with recognition. Your eyes meet something below the surface. Two bright eyes shine from below. Almost frozen, you begin to seal yourself, and that's when a voice floats from the pool directly behind you. Welcome, dear. Welcome to our home, our sweet little home. You whirl around. You whirl about. A crone festooned with barnacles and warts smiles at you, her head poking above the surface of that foul pool. Immediately she dives back below. Your eyes fall to a rotting trout. Foul magic must animate its lips indeed, for it croaks, make yourself at home. But I see now I've gotten ahead of myself. Let's go read about areas 10A and B before we get to area 10C, which is what I just read from. Okay, so to area 10A in the module says the Black Pebble Cave. This 8-foot high cave abuts the river Sargauth. Its floor is covered with wet black pebbles that crunch underfoot. The sound of footsteps on the pebbles is loud enough to alert the Grimlocks in Area 10B. Having eluded the drow so far, 10 Grimlocks huddle in the back of this 10-foot high cavern. They feed on fish from the river Sargauth and fight only in self defense. And then we have Area 10C with the description I read for you from the companion. There's more in the companion. Let's read from the module first. This 30-foot high natural cave smells like brine and seaweed. It is home to a coven of 3 sea hags in league with Hallister Blackcloak. Each hag has a giant crab pet that follows her around and obeys her commands. The cave's other features are as follows. The sound of splashing geysers echoes throughout. The uneven floor has many shallow pits filled with dirty water. The hags use these pits as paths and hide in them if they see lights approaching or hear unfamiliar footsteps. A vast variety of shells are embedded in the slick, algae coated walls. If the characters previously met Andarian Dusk, the lantern merchant of Skullport, the sea hags are already acquainted with them thanks to the hag eye pendant that Dusk wears. In this case, they address the characters in familiar tones and ask them if they took time to sample some of Skullport's local ales. Otherwise, they politely introduce themselves as Coral Black, Gurgle Brine, and Cauldra Cuttlefingers. While all 3 hags are alive, they gain the shared spellcasting trait as described in the Hag Coven's sidebar in the Hag's entry in the Monster Manual. The hags aren't spoiling for a fight with non-drow because Hallister has tasked them solely with ridding the Sargauth level of the Dark Elves. The hags keep their affiliation with Hallister a secret and pretend to be harmless shell collectors with no enemies to speak of. They use adventurers to do their dirty work, promising not only safe passage through their caves, but also information meant to turn them against the drow. Throughout the conversation, they supply the following observations. A drow priestess has defiled an ancient dwarven temple on the other side of the river, turning it into a profane breeding pit for spider abominations. The drow are kidnapping folk from the city above. Those not fed to the spiders are sacrificed to the vile demon goddess worshipped by the drow. The drow have already infiltrated Skullport and found its defenses lacking. An invasion is imminent. The capture of Skullport will give the drow a firm base from which to strike into the heart of Undermountain. What's next? Waterdeep? Now let's go back to the companion and see what we can see there about Area 10C. The hags are loath to come to violence and quickly introduce themselves. As they're in league with Hallister, they want to pit the adventurers against the drow. The adventurers are sure to guess they're hags and will distrust them immediately. No matter, this isn't the Coven's first rodeo. The Coven has concocted a tale for visitors that they were cursed into these wretched forms by a sea hag matron now long lost to the waves. They insist that they want nothing but peace. The Coven consists of Caldra Cuttlefingers, not the youngest nor the oldest. Caldra acts as the diplomat. She assures the adventurers that they'll face no harm in these caves so long as they join them for a supper of oysters and raw fish. She claims to be a fierce adherent of the oath of hospitality and guest right. Coral Black Cloak. Coral Black. Coral Black is chiefly psychotic and handsy. Her touch leaves a thin film of slime on any surface, and nothing cheers her up more than to stroke a character's lovely hair. If any adventurer has long hair, Coral insistently offers to braid it. Gurgle Brine. Gurgle Brine is ancient and lost her voice to a bargain made long ago. She speaks through the decaying lips of rotted fish within 30 feet of her. She's quick to anger and tends to slap others with a trout when making overzealous points, even with her own sisters. Okay, then Area 10D. From the module, we read small geysers throughout this 20-foot high cave, spouting jets of briny water that soak the roof. Okay, let's move our heroes down there, and then we read from the companion. In the companion, we read about 10D. You can expand this area by incorporating these elements. Geysers. In the gloom, it can be difficult to discern a geyser's mouth. Roll initiative thrice, each one representing a cluster of geysers. On its turn, it subjects a character standing on it or within 5 feet of it to a DC 14 dexterity saving throw. If a character was standing on it, they're jettisoned 10 feet into the air and crash to the ground prone, taking 1d6 bludgeoning damage. A character standing within 5 feet of one that fails its saving throw must make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw if it was concentrating on a spell. Its concentration is broken on a failure. You can add 2d4 plus 2 Grimlocks to this cave. They fight only in self-defense and warn the party in Undercommon that the crones provide but also take. That is to say, fish and safe harbor in return for sacrifices the Grimlocks must make. The Coven has tossed around the idea of pitting the Grimlocks against House of Rindar, but no, the savages are no match for the drow. In the meantime, having simple servants to collect food and warn of intruders is enough. Okay, moving along to Area 10E. Here we have in the module the stone cauldron. In the middle of this 20-foot high cave, the floor bulges and forms a 5-foot diameter stone cauldron. Ship rigging and tattered sails hang from the ceiling like web strands and torn curtains. The stone cauldron created by Hallister is filled to the brim with murky water and has five rusty iron keys at the bottom. These keys unlock the shackles in Area 10G. The cauldron has AC 17, 60 hit points, and immunity to poison and psychic damage. If reduced to 0 hit points, the cauldron cracks and is destroyed. The sea hags use the cauldron as a focus for their scrying spell. The first time a creature other than a sea hag disturbs the water or damages the cauldron, an Elder Rune materializes above it. See Elder Runes, page 12. Draw from the Elder Runes deck, see Appendix B, to determine which rune appears. The Elder Rune targets a random creature within 60 feet of it. Any creature that drinks a pint or more of water from the cauldron must succeed on a DC 13 Constitution saving throw, or be poisoned for 1 hour per pint consumed. Then Area 10F is down here, where we have some gnawed bones. The walls of this cave are stacked neatly with goblin, hobgoblin, troglodyte, and giant spider bones that have been picked clean by the sea hags. Down here we have Area 11. We'll get to that soon. But first, Area 10G is up here, which is quite important, actually. Okay, so let's read from the module first. The sea hags shackle their food here. Old chains bolted to the walls end in 5 sets of rusty shackles, the keys to which are hidden inside the cauldron in Area 10E. A character who, with thieves' tools, can pick each lock with a successful DC 15 dexterity check. Two prisoners are chained here when the characters arrive: an unarmed goblin named Lurk and a 13-year-old boy named Delvin Stormshore, chaotic good male Alaskan human commoner with no weapons. The hags caught Delvin after he and a friend borrowed a rowboat and used it to explore the sea caves near Skullport. When the sea hags attacked, Delvin's friend leaped out of the boat and managed to swim away, but Delvin wasn't so lucky. He's so cold and scared that he stammers when he tries to talk. For its own amusement, the wicked goblin has been tormenting Delvin by threatening to eat him before the hags return. Since the boy can't see in the dark, he mistakes the bullying goblin for his jailer, not another prisoner. If rescued, Delvin insists that the characters call him Del and gladly offers to carry their gear for them. Like most goblins, Lurk is a cowardly bully. He's very hungry and begs characters for food and freedom. Area 10H. Wait, let me see. Is the companion about 10G? Yes, it is. Okay. Here's to read to the players. You hear a storm of whispering chains and racking sobs drifting out from the darkness. Then a rough voice grumbles in broken common. Then I's gonna snap off your fingers, grind 'em, eat 'em, feed 'em to you. You like that? Make you into stew. Let me go, sobs a young boy. Let me go. Delvin, the 13-year-old human boy, believes the goblin. Lurk is his jailer and scared witless. The sea hags don't take kindly to the theft of their cattle, but aren't about to take arms to prevent it. If confronted, the hags merely shrug and say, "He was the river's bounty, ours to collect," as if that alone excuses everything. They know that there shall be more prey to come, long after the adventurers have gone. If the adventurers promise to return him to Skullport, Delvin carries their gear and will act as a guide once in town. He provides the following information. Skullport is under the heel of the Xanathar Guild. From the fortress of Skull Island rules a paranoid half-ogre fond of violence. Residents of Skullport shudder at his very name, Sundeath. An old archmage by the name of Tasselgrin Veldarn runs the Poisoned Quill and can teleport individuals out of Undermountain for a price. Pockets of resistance to the Xanathar Guild are holding out in Skullport, desperate for aid. Okay, then we have Area 10H in the module. we read Hag's Hoard. This cave has a jagged 30-foot high ceiling. A 20-foot high mountain of rotted out rowboats fills the back 40 feet of this damp cave. Jutting like needles from the mound are shattered barnacle covered spars that were once masts. At the top of the mountain of junk is a crow's nest that contains the sea hag's treasure. See treasure below. Hanging from iron spikes pounded into the walls are dozens of captains' wheels, plundered from sunken ships and festooned with skulls. Leaning against the south wall is a ship's figurehead, carved in the form of a wailing banshee. The rowboat wreckage is difficult terrain, and sections of it are prone to collapse. Any creature that ends its turn on the wreckage must succeed on a DC 10 dexterity saving throw or fall prone. The waterlogged figurehead stands 8 feet tall and weighs 1,200 pounds. A detect magic spell reveals an aura of abjuration magic around it. Casting Dispel Magic on the figurehead renders it non magical. Unless its magic is dispelled, the Banshee figurehead lets out a tremendous wail if any creature other than a sea hag approaches within 10 feet of the crow's nest. The Banshee's wail echoes throughout the cavern and can be heard as far away as Area 10C. If the hags survive, they gather reinforcements from Areas 10A and 10B and rush to defend their precious treasure. The crow's nest contains 2,000 copper pieces inside a lidless wooden chest, 250 silver pieces inside a tin urn, an umbrella, a set of weaver's tools, an ebony walking cane with an octopus shaped handle made of pewter, 25 GP, and a cracked spyglass, 250 GP. Now, in the module, we read for Area 10H. This hoard's a graveyard. A mountain of wrecked rowboats 20 feet high are needled by barnacle-encrusted masts. Countless captains' wheels have been pounded into the walls, accompanied by skulls, some bleached white, some yet still rotting, but all ghastly, all stolen from the depths, hopefully. Jutting from the mountain of wreckage like some ominous tower is a crow's nest, watched by a ship's wailing banshee figurehead. Additional loot. You can add a candle of the deep and a hat of wizardry to the treasure, as well as 1d4 plus 1 potions of healing and 1 potion of poison. If you'd like to steer the adventurers into conflict with the Coven and improve upon Delvin's importance, consider making him a nascent sorcerer. Treat him as an apprentice wizard, except with a 14 in charisma and an 11 in intelligence. Whenever he casts a first level spell or higher, you can roll the wild magic table found in the sorcerer's class section of the player's handbook. The hags recognize his innate power and sought to groom him into their tool through some foul ritual learned from below the waves, and then slip him off to Hallister Blacklock to be taught in Duomelcore, the Mad Mages Academy found on level 9 of Undermountain. In this variant, the Coven will come to blows with the party if they attempt to take Delvin. First send the 2d4 plus 2 Grimlocks in Area 10D to attack the party and then ambush them as they leave Area 10. If wounded, they dive into the River Sargauth to lick their wounds. They can try to reclaim their prize another day, such as when the boy is back in Skullport. Okay, then we have Area 11, which is way down on the map. Let's go, go, go. Down, down, down through these tunnels here, through these caves. And then we have Driders down here. Okay, let's read what the module says. A Drider lives here. The sea hags in Area 10 use it to guard the front door of their lair. 11 Area 11A. This yawning cave resembles the maw of some great fish. Natural columns of rock support the 30-foot high ceiling. In the middle of the cave stands a half crumbled statue of a princely human clad in plate armor, his sword drawn at the ready. And at the ready. A Medusa lived in these caves many years ago until adventurers got the better of her. The crumbled statue is all that remains of her victims. Area 11B. A Drider lurks in the smaller cave to the north and emerges to confront the intruders who enter by way of Area 11A. This Drider has the spellcasting trait described in the sidebar that appears in the Drider entry in the Monster Manual. The main cave has a 40-foot high ceiling filled with the petrified victims of a Medusa that once lived here. The Drider has wrapped these statues in thick webs, creating an eerie forest of grey cocoons. Strung between these cocoons are webbed strands that create difficult terrain. The Drider clings to the walls, staying out of reach of melee weapons while casting spells or shooting its longbow. As it attacks, it says over and over in Elvish, "The queen is mad, mad at me. She is mad as mad can be." Pulling apart the wet cocoons or setting them on fire reveals the petrified creatures hidden inside them. The creatures include several drow, kuatoa, and troglodytes, as well as a few dwarf miners and human pirates. All of them are locked in poses of combat with expressions of fear on their faces. Okay, then area 12 is down here. In the module, we read, "The shape of this riverside cavern resembles a clamshell. The ghosts of three human pirates named Algar Grimtide, Liddy Slurtongue Pedalcant, and Fishbone Jim move in and out of the rocks, searching for buried treasure. They attack creatures they perceive as competitors and ignore any others. The ghosts can't rest until they find hidden treasure. The characters can't get the ghost's attention by offering to lead them to a hidden hoard, such as the one. Well, the characters can get the ghost's attention by offering to lead them to a hidden hoard, such as the one in Area 9B, or to a location near the river where the characters have buried treasure themselves. The ghost can follow the party or possess characters, but can't stray more than 100 feet from the river Sargauth. Once they find what they're looking for, they cackle and dance about madly, then vanish forever. Characters who lay the ghosts to rest in this way should receive XP as if they had defeated them in combat. Okay, now let's see what our module says. In the companion, we read the following. The spirits clamor loudly to each other and exude shimmering lights that dance upon the shore and river. When the adventurers approach, they hear this conversation. "There be nothing here, Slurtongue," some ethereal voice echoes from afar. "Just 'cause you're blind as can't be see, don't you mean nothing worth something ain't here," answers a barbed voice. "I'll cut ye down, boy. Say that again." "Ye can't cut me down," Slurtongue mocks. "I can try," shouts the first voice. "Try then, you transparent cur." You hear the rasp of ghostly steel and a shuddering sigh from a third mouth. The pirates are initially unhostile to the adventurers. If questioned, they explain they were once sailors of the Lady's Slipper. They don't know how long it's been since they died in these caverns. Only that they met their grisly ends at the hands of the ladies of the river, the sea hags of Cove in Area 10. The spirits habitually complain about the afterlife and pine for the days when they could still taste the salt on the wind, often saying, "Yar, aye, them there were the days," which is echoed by the other two spirits. They know they can't stray more than 100 feet from the river Sargauth. Okay, and then Area 13, we get our Riverside Caverns. Let's say the players travel down river here. Um, oh boy, Area 13 is maybe on this side of the river. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so it's up there, sorry. All right, let's see what the module says. Area 13A and 13B. Let's go up there to area 13A. Okay, 13A, we read, 13 generally, we read, these rooms contain conveyances the characters can use to travel up and down the river Sargauth. 13A, drow rafts. The drow use rafts to ply the river Sargauth. Leaning against the walls are two 10-foot square rafts made of zirkwood logs lashed together with thick spiderwebs. Resting nearby are six 10-foot poles that the drow use to guide the rafts up and down the river. 13B, Ferryman's Rests. This 20-foot high cave abuts the river Sargauth and has the following features. An ornate stone door embedded in the northwest wall is flanked by bas reliefs of helmed dwarves, their faces chipped away by vandals. An inscription carved into the door's molding has also been damaged, rendering it indecipherable. A black gondola, its hull carved with leering eyes, is moored at the river's edge and ferried by a black-robed tiefling skeleton clutching a 10-foot pole, which it uses to guide the boat. The gondola and the skeletal ferryman are all creature creations of Hallister. The gondola, which can hold up to 7 medium creatures and their gear, is a large object with AC 11, 50 hit points, and immunity to poison and psychic damage. The tiefling skeleton understands common and infernal but can't speak. It plies the river Sargauth in whichever direction its riders want to go. When the characters reach their destination, the tiefling extends a bony hand, expecting a payment of 1 coin per passenger. If it doesn't receive the proper payment, both it and the boat fade away. Characters who destroy the skeleton or use an effect that turns undead against it, can commandeer the gondola, but without its proper pilot, the ship is attacked whenever it enters a section of the river marked with a wavy arrow. Roll a d6 and consult the following table to determine the nature of the attackers. 1 to 2, 4 minotaur skeletons rise from the river bottom. 3 to 4, 7 shadows crawl on into the boat. 5 to 6, 4 will-o-wisps materialize above the boat. Okay, then we have area 14, with area 14A and 14B being these entryways. The Malarcan dwarves hold blocks of unworked stone here to be carved into doors, statues, and other forms. 14A, South Entrance. A 4-foot square block of stone has fallen from the ceiling of this hall and cracked into two on the floor. That's down here, of course. The block was released when someone stepped on a hidden pressure plate in the floor. The trap failed to hit its intended target and no longer poses a danger to anyone. Innermost door. This thick stone door is flanked by bas-relief carvings of dwarves, their faces and beards chipped away. A dwarf can open the door, but no other creatures can do so except by using a knock spell or similar magic. The door has AC 15, 75 hit points, and immunity to all damage except force damage and damage dealt by adamantine weapons. 14B, North Entrance. In the middle of the hallway, crushed beneath a 4-foot square block of stone that has fallen from the ceiling, is a goblin. Only its gangly legs are visible. The goblin stepped on a pressure plate that caused the block to fall, and the trap no longer poses any danger. This thick stone door has the same appearance and properties as the one in area 14A. So talking about this one. Okay. Then 14C, we read the Hall of Stone. An unusually large Zorn, 10 feet tall and 10 feet wide, sleeps soundly in the middle of the room. While asleep, the creature remains standing, its mouth and eyes closed, its arms hanging limply with knuckles scraping the floor. 20 cubes of solid granite measuring 8 feet on a side are arranged about the chamber. One cube near the west wall, marked with an X on map 3, is fake. Four unfinished statues situated around the room have piles of chipped stone around their bases. Until it escaped captivity and hid here, the Zorn was one of Hallister's prized pets, raised on a steady diet of magic gemstones to dramatically increase its size. It comes and goes by phasing through the walls, and it enjoys the quiet solitude that this chamber provides. A successful DC 16 dexterity stealth check allows the creature to cross the room quietly without waking the Zorn, but the check is made with disadvantage if the creature is carrying coins or gemstones, since the Zorn can detect such treasures by scent, even while it is asleep. The discovery of intruders in its lair provokes its anger, causing it to attack. The Zorn has a challenge rating of 8, 3,900 gold XP, and the following changes to its statistics. The Zorn is large and has 103, 90, 10 plus 54 hit points. Its strength is 20 plus 5, and its melee weapon attacks have plus 8 bonus to hit. Its claw attacks have a reach of 10 feet and deal 9 1d8 plus 5 slashing damage on a hit, and its bite attack deals 22 5d6 plus 5 piercing damage on a hit. Although similar in appearance to the granite blocks, uh, the fake cube is 8 feet by 8 feet. It's hollow with 3-inch thick plaster sides. A dwarf within 10 feet of the cube can tell at a glance that what it's made of, as can a character who taps the cube with a hammer or a similar tool. Any creature weighing more than 50 pounds that stands on the cube falls into it as the plaster gives way underfoot. The cube contains a chipped alabaster throne of elven design, sturdy in construction yet elegant in form. It is intricately carved to resemble bundled branches and twigs, with a tiny songbird perched on one end of its back. There used to be 5 carved songbirds perched atop the throne, but 4 have been broken off and lost. The throne was carved by the elves of Ilefarn, an ancient kingdom of the north. It disappeared from its capital, located where Waterdeep stands today, shortly before the kingdom's destruction 2,500 years ago. The Malarkan dwarves found it in damaged condition and planned to return it to the elves as a gift after repairing it. Dwarven adventurers later found it and hid it in hopes of returning when they had a means of getting it out of the dungeon, but they didn't make it back. Finding the throne and informing Volo of its whereabouts completes a quest. See Throne of the Coronal, page 8. As one of the oldest surviving relics of Ilefarn, the throne is priceless. It has 2 minor magical properties. A creature sitting in the throne can tell a lie, and the throne is surprisingly light for its size, weighing only 500 pounds. Unfinished statues, represented by the statue icons on map 3, these 4 unfinished samples of dwarven stonecraft from north to south are a mostly finished statue of a female dwarf priest carrying a stone censer, a half-finished statue of a cheery dwarf girl riding on the shoulders of her beaming father, whose lower body has not yet been carved, a half-finished stone door carved with the image of a heavily armored dwarf clashing axes with a minotaur, and lastly, a mostly uncarved block of stone from which the features of an ornate stone brazier are emerging. Okay, and then we also have something in the companion about Area 14 to read to the players. In Area 14C, at the far end of the hall slumbers an abomination. a three-armed, three-legged creature whose very flesh is stone. A single closed eye adorns its torso like a pendant, and where a neck would be is instead a fanged maw. If you want to skip the rigmarole of an arcana check to determine what the hell kind of creature this is, the Mad Mage himself can telepathically lecture them on this Zorn and its nature. Read the following. A voice blooms from within your skull, the voice of the Mad Mage. It's called a Zorn, the Mad Mage lectures. A creature of elemental earth, gluttonous and insatiable, glides through earth as if it were a fish that becomes water. Pioneers used to ride these babies for miles. This one's all bloated on gems and coins. I call him Stephen, after my uncle. Okay, and then we have Area 15, which is all the way down here. Yep, okay, there's Area 15A. I can reach it from here through these tunnels. Okay, so let's see. So for Area 15A, in the module, we read Way to Willowwood. The Drow cornered and killed several troglodytes in these caves after the reptilian creatures refused to be enslaved. 15A is a battle scene. The floor here is stained with blood and strewn with a dozen spent bolts from hand crossbows. A character who inspects the vaults and succeeds a DC 15 intelligence nature check finds evidence of drow poison on the bolts, but the poison has lost its potency. 15B, Rotting Trogs. A putrid stench fills this 10-foot-high cave, courtesy of 3 rotting troglodyte corpses riddled with crossbow bolts. Closer examination reveals nasty puncture wounds from poisoned drow short swords. Embedded in the southeast wall is a stone arch, its keystone and base stones each bearing an engraving of an old man clutching a staff. The stone arch is one of Alistair's magic gates. See Gates, page 12. Its rules are as follows. The gate opens for 1 minute when the arch is tapped 3 times with a staff of any kind. Characters must be 8th level or higher to pass through this gate. See Jessira Kesselharp, page 10. The first creature to pass through the gate triggers an Elder Rune. See Elder Runes, page 12. A creature that passes through the gate appears in Area 6I on level 5, in the closest unoccupied space next to the identical gate located there. Okay, and then we have Area 16A and 16B, which are these areas across from the river, across from each other. What's this? Okay, so Area 16, we have 2 male drow hide on this ledge, 6 feet above the water. Oh, sorry, these are overall. 4 drow sentries watch for river incursions from Skullport. The drow fire crossbows at enemies as they pass between the 2 caves. North ledge. 2 male drow hide on this ledge, 6 feet above the water. They are brothers named Varon and Vezdar. If one is killed, the other flees and alerts the drow in Area 20. Area 16B, South Ledge. Hidden atop this 8-foot-high ledge are 2 male drow named Malkoth and Quillolvir, and a female drow elite warrior named Meridin Helveray. Meridin commands this guard post. She carries a 30-foot-long coil of spider silk rope tied to a grappling hook, which the drow used to swing across the river. A side cave contains the remnants of an old campfire and the skeletal remains of a halfling adventurer who was robbed and killed by his companions. There's no treasure left to be found here.
We hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our new videos to level up your campaign. Special thanks to Wyatt Troll for writing his amazing companion, available at dmsguild.com, which this video is based on. We strongly recommend getting the complete edition. We couldn't imagine running any of the campaign without it.